There is some fantastic news tonight about the preservation of one of our greatest archaeological treasures, Stonehenge. A previous video, link in the description, revealed how a legal campaign was challenging the outrageous decision of the UK government to build a dual carriageway road tunnel a hair's breadth from the stunning Neolithic monument. My video focused on a modern-day druid who claims to be the reincarnation of King Arthur, as you do, who was considering a legal challenge to the plan. Well, he, along with more mainstream campaigners and anyone who values our history, are sure to be celebrating tonight. For the High Court has seen sense and thrown out the scheme. In a judgment handed down this afternoon, the court quashed the Development Consent Order, DCO, which authorises the construction of the tunnel at Stonehenge, which was to replace the existing A303 road. Mr Justice Holgate allowed the judicial review by Save Stonehenge World Heritage Site Limited on the 30th of July 2021 on two grounds relating to the adequacy of the information before ministers and his consideration of alternatives. On the 12th of November 2020, the Secretary of State for Transport, Grant Shapps, had made a DCO under the Planning Act 2008 to authorise the construction of a new route 13 kilometres long for the A303 between Amesbury and Berwick Down, partly tunnellised and partly in a cutting. The tunnel would be 3.3 kilometres long under the Stonehenge part of the Stonehenge, Avebury and Associated Sites World Heritage Site, and the cutting would traverse the western part of the WHS before reaching a replacement junction at Longbarrow adjacent to the WHS. The Stonehenge part of the World Heritage Site contains 175 scheduled monuments, with other associated monuments outside it. Highways England had applied for the DCO, and their application was considered at a statutory 6-month examination in 2019. The examining authority considered that the scheme would cause substantial harm to the World Heritage Site and recommended that it be refused. The Secretary of State disagreed, in particular in relation to the level of harm, considering that the less than substantial harm would result and would be outweighed by the benefits of the scheme, including the removal of the existing surface level A303. The judicial review claim was brought on 5 grounds, and a rolled-up hearing considering whether permission to apply for judicial review should be granted and the merits of any judicial review at the same time. The claim was allowed on 2 grounds: that the minister did not receive a précis of or any briefing on heritage impacts, where the examining authority agreed with Highways England but did not summarise in their report. He therefore could not form any conclusion about those heritage assets, whether in agreement or disagreement. Added to this, the examining authority and the minister limited their concluded consideration of alternatives to whether an options appraisal had been carried out and whether there was information on alternatives. However, they did not go on to consider the relative merits of the scheme and alternatives, in particular extending the proposed tunnel farther westwards. Mr Justice Holgate considered it was irrational not to have drawn conclusions in relation to alternatives, particularly given that the third parties had raised them and the examining authority had addressed the information about them in its report. The judge held that the circumstances were wholly exceptional. In this case, the relative merits of the alternative tunnel options compared to the western cutting and portals were an obviously material consideration, which the minister was required to assess and draw conclusions upon. The court rejected a series of other grounds which made up the challenge, but the ultimate decision was that the scheme be thrown out. Far be it for me to question the sage judgment of the court. This represents wonderful news and hopefully the preservation of the Stonehenge World Heritage Site for generations hence. The fact is that Stonehenge is yet to yield all its secrets, so as well as damaging what is already there, this scheme could have destroyed potential new archaeological discoveries before they have even been made. A job well done by the court and all those who have challenged this crazy plan. That's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share and most importantly subscribe. Thank you for watching.